changing over 200,000 lives, giving away over $150 million in programs and courses, traveling to 14 countries around the world while making millions of dollars as well as part of the process. And so I've distilled those lessons down, 10 lessons that I want to take you through that I think hopefully will not just be valuable for me and obviously for our team, but of course really valuable for you all in your lives. We is greater than me. That, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. There's simply no reality where you make your dreams, your goals, your ideas happen in whatever facet or aspect you have in your life if you're not doing that in collaboration and partnership with other people. You get the right people around you, you're going to believe in that, and it's going to allow you to keep moving forward. Travel is an underappreciated gateway drug to another fucking dimension of life's experiences. Your ability to move to a place where you don't know the street signs, where you don't know what's going on, where you don't have all of the information, it forces your brain to operate and rewire and stretch and contract and push and pull in different directions. You are rewiring your brain. From a neuroplasticity perspective, when you come back, you're never the same again. If you imagine that in order to be incredibly successful at anything, in your marriage, in your health and fitness, in your finances, in your career, in your business, if you imagine that in order for you to do that, you needed to do 1,000,000 repetitions of something, 1,000,000. But if you could get to 1,000 repetitions a day, 365 repetitions, 365,000 repetitions in a year, then you're going to get to 1,000,000 repetitions in 3 years. So it's really just about how committed am I to doing that and nothing else. Let's talk about some of the biggest lessons learned in this year. I'm sure you've all got some amazing lessons that you've picked up along the way, but I decided to take a little bit of time in this last sort of 24, 48 hours and reflect on what has been a truly, landmark year for us at Wild. This year we've done some amazing and incredible things, and you can tell by the people that we've had talk already today, and of course you'll understand it even more in this next bit when we speak with Lindell. But you really do get a sense that this year has been quite a transformational year. And if you've had the pleasure of working with us back in the late 20-teens and then into the 2020s, you'll get a real different sense of how we've gone this year by comparison to how we've gone in the previous years. And it has really been quite amazing. And so I've distilled those lessons down into 47 lessons that I'm going to take you now, 10 lessons that I want to take you through that I think hopefully will not just be valuable for me and obviously for our team, but of course really valuable for you all in your lives as well. And hopefully you can take these and apply them into your own lives and have some sense of a similar or even a better sense of success for you all in different ways in your lives, personally and professionally, as we head into 2026. So first big lesson is this, and I've shared this before, but I'm going to repeat it because fuck y'all need to hear it a few times, and Lord knows I need to talk about it more, which is this principle that is we is greater than me. We is greater than me. And for a lot of you on the call, what you'll probably be aware of is that you are all high achievers. You're used to doing things on your own. Life at times can feel a bit like a group project at school where you're like, fuck, I've been assigned these people to work with, but no one fucking does anything. I'm going to have to do it on my own. And that group project could be your husband, could be your kids, could be fucking the people at work, it could be anything, right? And so sometimes we get very used to just getting on with it ourselves and getting it done ourselves. And as a result, you get better, right? Because you take on board more responsibility and you learn and you suffer through it and you're relentless, you just do all the things. And then effectively the gap between you and other people does really stretch, where it becomes very difficult for you to engage with other people and give them responsibility and opportunity, not because you don't want to, but because you go, hey, the stakes are high, I really need this to work and I need you to buy into it. But if you can figure out a way to get the right people around you, and that's a very important point, but truly we is greater than me. When I look at this year, Jaden just asked me outside, he's like, hey, how many people have we had do our programs and certifications and courses this year? And I said, look, to be honest, I don't have a specific number, but at the moment we've got about, I would say somewhere between 110 to 130,000 people this year. 110 to 130,000 people this year. And he said, well, how much of that is like, how many, if you think about like free certifications that we've given to people, free courses, what's the value of that? I was like, look, it really ranges, but some of them have been like $2,000 to $3,000 worth of program, and some of them have been up to $8,000. But if we assume, say, 5,000 at 120,000 people, we're looking at $600 million worth of courses. Like, it's an obscene amount. And there's just no way that I would have ever been able to do that on my own. It was only through doing that in partnership and collaboration with people. Now, to do that, you have to give up some stuff, right? You have to give up, in this case, it could be equity or finance. It could also be you have to give up control. You have to give up the need for it to be done the way that you would want it to be done as well. Like, one of the things I think is very empowering to realize is that, there's many different ways to achieve the same outcome. And when you're very good at doing things the way that you do things, as I am, then you go, hey, this is the great way to do it. And then and it's not just this is a great way to do it, this is the right way to do it, right? And then you have other people do it a different way. And it's like, I don't really give a fuck that much about the way that I do things. I just want us to win. And so I've got more, I want you to write this down. I've got more of a commitment to being better than to being right. Now, I know that what I'm saying is right, but on the same token, if you can do it in a way that is also right, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't care how we get there. I just want us to be able to get there and to be able to win. So at some point, you've got to be pragmatic about that. But truly, if you want to make a bigger impact, you've got to be able to do that in collaboration and partnership with people. By the way, that's no different to a marriage. That's no different to a friendship. That's no different to having a buddy that you train with at the gym. If you want to get the best results in 2026, you've really got to be very clear about doing this with other people, being able to support other people, encourage other people, doing it together. We is greater than me. Because every one of you is going to have a period of time at some point in the year to come, it's guaranteed, where you lose faith, where it doesn't work, where it's not going according to plan. You get the right people around you, you're going to believe in that, and it's going to allow you to keep moving forward. So number one, we is greater than me. Number two, building on that principle as well. This is a very important point. I don't think we talk about this enough in personal development and success. Often when we're talking about goals and dreams and aspirations, we think about that, especially for all of you that are solopreneurs right now. You are working for yourself, by yourself. You don't have that team or that ecosystem. You naturally think about goals that you have to achieve. You naturally think about goals that you have to achieve. But I want you to understand this. The right people change the goalposts on what's possible. The right people change the goalposts on what's possible. I was having this conversation with my wife earlier in the year, and we were setting some crazy goals for the year. And she said, well, how are you feeling about the goals that we're setting? And I said, to be honest, I feel pretty heavy about them. Like, I just feel like, fuck, there's a lot of work in this, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get there, right? And my mentality was very much like, I have to do this, right? And then I said, but you know what? When I'm thinking about it, if we added in someone like a Jaden into the mix in that conversation, because we're going through the recruitment process with Jaden at the time, I said, if we had someone like Jaden on board with that, I think that really changes what's possible. And then we said, hey, if we added in someone like a Kim, for example, that really changes what's possible. And so when you then start thinking about going, hey, I've got this goal, but if I added someone like a Nancy into this conversation, that really changes what's possible. If I added in a Yvette, that really changes what's possible. It's like, hey, you're not doing it on your own. If you want to think about it from the perspective going, hey, I've got this incredible goal that I want to achieve, and how do I get somebody on board to be able to do that? And there's a bit of a chicken and an egg scenario here I want everyone to be aware of. If you don't have all of those people, naturally, you're not going to be able to achieve as much. And that's not going to be inspiring enough for people that could help you, but can't because the vision's not big enough. But if you have a bigger vision that you could never achieve on your own, you're not going to be able to do it unless you work with other people. So having a smaller vision that you can achieve limits you, because if you had a bigger vision that you can't achieve, it actually empowers you, ironically enough, to then enroll other people into it, because you go, hey, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. But if I have a big enough vision, that's a vision for me, and it's a vision for Tama, and a vision for Linda, and for Sophia, and for Addie, and for Sheila, and also add in Leanne into the mix as well, and Chris and Lee. It's like, hey, I've got a vision big enough now that all of us can be part of that, and also have our own visions inside of that, and together we can easily do that, probably even do more than that, and that becomes an inspiring place to be. So we is greater than me is number one. Number two is understanding that if you get the right people, it changes the goalpost on what's possible. Hands of you guys are picking up this conversation. Absolutely. And by the way, that doesn't have to be like big picture partners. It can also be just help around the house or in your life, right? Like this year, we brought on board a housekeeper and a nanny. In fact, actually, that's not true. We brought her on board last year, but this year, she really stepped up in a big way for us, and I don't think we could do what we do today if it wasn't for Rochelle. Rochelle does an incredible job with our girls. She does an incredible job at our home. She's an amazing asset as our overall family, and we think about the business of our family, well, there's no way we're able to do those things. There's no way we're able to do the things if we didn't have our friends and family on board as well that do a lot of work with us and the kids. So you get the right people in your life, both at a smaller level, everything starts to change, and at a bigger level, everything starts to change. And you can also think about that as well as part of community, right? It's like, hey, I don't have to have all of this figured out, but if I put myself in the right community, the right people change for me what's possible. Even if they're not a direct partner, even if they're not in the trenches with me every day, that's part of what we're talking about as well. Yeah. So number 2 is the right people change what's possible. Number 3, within that, if you're going to attract the right people, we just mentioned it before, you need to create a vision that's big enough for everybody to believe in. The right people need the vision in terms of what they can believe in. They're going to be inspired by you and where you're going and where you're headed, right? Ambitious people want to feel like they're growing and developing. And to the extent that you have a vision for the future, you can inspire people. That's true of clients as well, by the way. Clients that come and work with you, if you're a coach and a leader, they're not necessarily looking for your vision, but the vision that they can create for their own lives that you help them facilitate and implement. So vision is critical here. You can see this is a bit of a theme, right? Because you realize, hey, at the end of the day, you're going to have 12 months. Whether you make something amazing happen in 12 months or not really comes down to how much work you do, the collective energy and effort of the people in your team, and the vision that you've got. They're really the fundamentals that everyone gets to choose at the very beginning of the year, before the year starts. They're the engines that you've got in the car. That's the pit crew that you've got, and your strategy for the track, right? If you think about the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix tonight. So that's number 3. Number 4, and this is an important distinction, because for a lot of you, when you're starting, you've got a bit of imposter syndrome, you've got a bit of a fear of failure. You feel as though that because you don't have certainty in yourself right now, that other people are not going to respect you, work with you, invest into you, or collaborate with you, because what you think is other people need certainty. And I want you to understand that the very best people, the people who are going to make the biggest impact in your lives, and I hope that this is the same person that you are as well for others, they don't give a fuck about certainty, because anybody that has ever achieved anything of note knows how uncertain plans and goals and dreams in this world is, right? People that have not done very much crave certainty because they're holding on to something as a hope to protect themselves from fear and hurt. But people that have been in the trenches of life before know, hey, good fucking luck, man. Like you can say all of this, but the reality is I don't care about all of those things. I don't care about how certain or convinced you are that this is all going to work, because I know that's not even worth the paper it's printed on. What I care about more than anything else is your commitment and conviction. I want you to write that down. The very best people, the people that are going to support you, love you, work with you, collaborate with you, don't care about certainty. They care about commitment and conviction. Think about a relationship and a marriage. You make a pledge or an oath, death do us part. But let's be clear, it's not, no one goes in dark times in their relationship to the signed marriage paperwork, right? No one goes, you know what gets me through the dark times? That we signed that contract in front of some witnesses to say that we're going to be married forever, right? That's not what people invest in or buy into in a relationship. What we're buying into is that I know there's going to be times where it doesn't work. I don't need the certainty that you tell me that it's all going to be great all the time, because I know it's not, right? Like there's a naivety to that. I'm buying into the concept of that we're going to figure it out together because we've committed to this together. There's a commitment and there's a conviction that I believe that you're the sort of person that when it goes wrong, will do whatever it takes to make it right. That's all we're actually buying into. And so it's not certainty that the outcome is predicted. It's that no matter what the outcome is, that we'll be able to get through it together because there's commitment and there's conviction. Hands of you guys are understanding this. So that's number 4. Number 5, win the morning, win the day, win the week, win at life. It's real fucking simple, right? For me, we talked about this already, the importance and the significance of winning the day. It stands to reason. If you want to win the year, you've got to win most of the quarters. 4 quarters, you've got to win most quarters. You want to win the quarter, you've got to win most weeks, 12 weeks. You want to win the week, you got to win most of the days, right? The good news is for you, if you're really strategic about this, the days that you lose, hopefully you don't lose by much. On the days that you win, you hopefully win by a lot. And so you're going to have some wins and losses, but hopefully the wins are greater than the losses. And over the course of the year, you balance out. You don't need to be perfect. It's not about having 365 perfect days. That's never going to happen. But it is about most days, most of the time winning. And the way to easily give yourself the best chance to be able to do that, despite whatever's going on, is to show up and to show up before anybody else. And if you can win the morning, you win the day. It's real simple. And so grounding yourself in that reality makes a massive difference. And especially as life gets busier and life gets crazier, there's more demands on your time. There's more people wanting to do amazing things with you. Managing success is a very difficult thing for most people to be able to do well. You've got to ground yourself in a daily morning routine of some way, shape, or form. It doesn't mean you have to get up in the morning and do fucking a cold ice bath or 6 hours of meditation and cleansing your chakras. But it does mean you've got to have something that's deliberate and intentional, set you up for success in the day, right? Something deliberate and intentional. That could be a morning prayer, that could be a walk, that could be breath, whatever it is for you. The idea is win the day. That makes a huge difference. That's number 5. Number six, and this has been a present or been a constant for me that's been present in my life for decades now, which is the significance of travel. Travel is an underappreciated gateway drug to another fucking dimension of life's experiences, right? We are creatures of habit. We get very conditioned and very consistent, and our life becomes very boring and predictable in the boundary conditions of our life experience. No matter how good your life is, no matter how challenging, whatever the circumstances, scenarios is, the ability for you to travel, and ideally to different cultures and different countries and different experiences, is mind-bending. Like literally, if you look at the neuroscience around this, your ability to move to a place where you don't know the street signs, where you don't know what's going on, where you don't have all of the information, it forces your brain to operate and rewire and stretch and contract and push and pull in different directions. You are rewiring your brain. From a neuroplasticity perspective, when you come back, you're never the same again, right? I love the feeling of coming back to a place that I've been before and feeling as though no one else has changed, but that I'm radically different and no one knows. That's an amazing feeling. And so travel is a huge gateway. If you're feeling stuck, go travel. If you're feeling uninspired, go travel. If you're feeling inspired, go travel. No matter what it is, I'm convinced that the cure for that is fucking travel. Because when you do travel, when you put yourself into a new environment, a new situation, a new scenario, you meet people, you meet cultures, you're inspired, you walk down streets, you experience different, like, life is fucking better. And to be fair, if you're in America, or if you're in Australia, or if you're in the UK, there's a part of that which is traveling to another part of your country, which is great. My encouragement is not to do that, though. If you want the best bang for buck, you travel to a different place, okay? Because traveling to a different place is really where you get the best opportunity to put yourself out of your comfort zone and experiment and experience new things. And so travel for me does amazing things. It also, as well, if you're like me, it does a few great things for your business as well, right? And I can't underappreciate this. So number one, you never think you have time to go and take a trip. And even if you're going to work while you're away, there's always a million things to get done. So it compresses time. And as a result of that, you become more productive and more effective and more decisive because you know you've got a deadline. That's amazing. Then when you go away, you sort of disconnect. And there's something that weird happens. When you tell people you're going on a trip, it's amazing how little people contact you while you're away. And so I tend to find if I don't send people emails or DMs or messages, I don't get anything back while I'm away. And it's lovely to get a bit of peace and quiet, which is amazing. But you realize how much that you were creating your own noise and activity versus other people actually genuinely needing you for things. If you have a team, it forces them to figure shit out themselves. If you become less accessible for a period of time, that's great. And if you are like me and you have a family, I'm also a big believer, although it's very painful, I'm also a big believer in you going and doing a solo trip away from your family because it gives you the opportunity to miss the people that you love and care about. And so for Ash and I, we went and did a couples trip this year. In the beginning of the year, we went and did a weekend in Melbourne, and the girls went and stayed with their grandmas, which was beautiful. And then just literally 2 weeks ago, this wasn't necessarily intended to be like this, but I was away in Sydney and then I was away in Queensland, and the trip was too long for us to, it was probably too long for me to be away normally, but I was doing a few different things and it wasn't going to make sense for us to take the girls and the kids, and we didn't want to go by ourselves. So Ash stayed home with the girls and I went and took a trip away, and I was away for 9 days. And it's the longest I've ever been away from them. And it was really, really fucking difficult. But what was beautiful about it was the ability to get to miss them. It was wonderful to have the experience of getting to miss them. I come back, I appreciate them more, they appreciate me. Life is good, right? And of course, It's in some cases much easier for dad to go and do that than it is for mum to go and do that. But of course, Ash is more than welcome to do that as well. I'd love to have some time alone with the kids. Happy to do that for a couple of hours. It doesn't need to be 9 days, of course, but just basically long enough for me to drive to my mum's with the kids, and then she can go there for as long as she likes, and then we'll come back, right? That's obviously what will happen. You guys get the idea. So, but all jokes aside, I think that's really important, and that doesn't have to be a big international thing, but having some separation and keeping in mind, we work and live at home together. So we're in each other's company all the time, but that is a nice part of it that also I think is really appreciated. And being intentional when you do travel to give yourself a mixture of life experiences. Give yourself some luxury and also give yourself some incredible humbling experiences to appreciate all that life has to offer. So number 6 is all about the importance of travel. Number 7, you can truly, genuinely have all the things that you want in life. You can have all of the things that you want in life. And speaking as someone that has, to the best part of what my goals and dreams and visions are currently, have all of them and had all of those things, what you really do genuinely appreciate is that you can tick a lot of boxes in terms of things. At the end of the day, if you're not enjoying those things with people that you love and care about, people that you want to spend that time with, it's worthless. It's worthless. And so the beautiful part about that is that if you have just the people that you love and care about, and you don't necessarily have all the things that you want in life, understand that people that have everything would trade everything for what you have. And so that at least allows you to ground yourself in going, hey, in reality, this is as good as it's ever going to get anyway. That doesn't mean to say I'm not inspired to go and create a better life, but understand that let me not sacrifice this for that, when in reality, if I had that, I would always want this. How does that make sense? And that really resonated with me this year because I watched this documentary series about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Has anyone seen the documentary series about Arnold Schwarzenegger? They interview it. It's a Netflix one or a Prime one. And they interview him at his ranch in California or Texas. I don't remember where it is. But it's an amazing interview talking about him and all the things that he's gone through. But obviously, he had a scenario when he was governor of California. He had an affair and had a child. To the person, I think there was one of the maids or someone he was working with, and as a result of that, he's lost his wife of a number of years, and of course his kids are now a little bit estranged from him as part of that process, and so he's got incredible wealth and incredible fame and an incredible house and all the things, and you can tell he's fucking lonely because this is the part of his life where he's meant to be enjoying all the things that he's been able to work for and accomplish and achieve, and he has the ability to do all of that, but he's got no one in the house with him. So what's the point of having an 18-bedroom home if you've got no one to share it with? And it's like if you made some different decisions, life would be very different. And he acknowledges that for himself as well. And that's not the only vice that people have, and that's not the only way people fuck things up, but understanding that actually, especially when you do little trips and things like that, you realize, hey, extra money, extra things, a nicer car, like those things don't make that much of a difference in the reality at the end of the day. They have a marginal improvement at best. What really matters is the quality of the connection and the people you've got in your lives. And I think we need to do a better job, and I speak for myself, of course, in communicating that to the people that we love and care about. To that point, one of the things that being a dad has taught me, which has been really amazing, I love being a dad, is that and I think this is important for us all to be across. There's a great principle. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. But genuinely as well, you get to a point in life, and I've had the realization of that this year, where you winning more doesn't do that much more to the quality of your life or to the quality of the people's lives around you. But if you could help other people win more, that would make you feel actually really genuinely quite phenomenal, and it would make a massive fucking impact in their lives. And so I was thinking about that with regards to my girls. You know, Alila and Ivana already know that dad is successful. They probably don't even have a concept of what success is, but they're going to grow up in a world where they know, tick, dad's successful, right? So me being more successful doesn't make any difference in their lives. Once you've crossed the threshold, you go, oh, you're a successful person, right? Dad made some success for himself. Once they know that, it doesn't make a difference how much more successful I am from now. It's already well and true. And that, to be fair, that line was crossed many years ago, right? Like, let's be very clear. And so that doesn't make that much of a difference. But the point is, for Alila and Havana, it's not about me being more successful. It's now, can I take what I've learned and share that with them so that they feel themselves to be successful? Because it doesn't matter how much successful I am. Yes, okay, cool, well done. I've now created a paradigm in our family where it's possible. In fact, it's not expected in the wrong way, but it's almost like it's an obvious thing that you would, of course, be successful because that's the world that we live in, right? Why would you not be? Of course, that's sort of expected, right? In the same way that if your whole family are all lawyers, then it's sort of expected that you, of course, become a lawyer. It's just sort of what you do in your family. So once you've created a paradigm where, hey, we have success, there is money and love and happiness and all the things. That's the environment that you're in. We expect you to be a product of that, right? I didn't have that necessarily when I was growing up, by the way. I'm sure many of you didn't. So you'll be the first person to create that paradigm. But once that paradigm has been set, whether or not the girls are successful has got nothing to do with how much more successful I am. I could win more, doesn't help them. What matters is, how do I help them win? They need to have the experience and the feeling to touch and feel and smell what it's like to fall down and pick themselves back up and strive and push themselves. And probably one of the greatest disservices that you could do for the people in your life is to actually win for them and rob them of the opportunity to win for themselves. To rob them of an opportunity to win for themselves. Hands, if this makes sense. And so not only you want to have the people around you win more, but also by them winning more, it's obviously going to encourage you to win more as well as part of the process. So that's number 8. Number 9, for me, happiness really is about magical moments. Happiness really is about magical moments. About being able to create magical moments for the people that you love and care about. Now, the magical moments you don't even have to be part of. You can absolutely use your wisdom, your skill set, your wealth, whatever it is, to make magical moments happen for other people. But it's in sharing magical moments of the people that you love and care about. And that doesn't have to be going to somewhere. That can be sitting on the couch and playing dress-ups. That can be, doing ballet and dance. That could be a million different things, right? It could be laughing uncontrollably until you cry and your belly hurts because someone said something funny. It's just about trying to have as many magical moments as you possibly can in your life. And in many cases, what having a business that you can use is a vehicle for, is to give you the freedom and the time and the opportunity to be present enough without the worries and the stresses and the problems of life, to be able to be present enough to enjoy more of those magical moments. It's not to say that having money is going to make that happen, but certainly if it allows you to be able to get rid of some of the things that would take you away from creating those magical moments and gives you the time capacity and perspective that allows you to invest into people and to create those together, that's pretty fucking magical. That's absolutely magical. Anyone that's told you money doesn't buy happiness has never given it away, has never shared it with other people, has never invested into the people that you love and care about in order to be able to create magical moments for them and for the people that they love and care about as well. So happiness for me, about magical moments. And for me, inside of me, in order for me to feel like I'm growing and developing and improving, like really all that I need is to feel like I'm hungry. And for me, being hungry is having something to work towards and to chase. And that never leaves you, by the way. If you stay in that pocket, it never leaves you. You just keep playing a bigger game as part of the process. And my final lesson, number 10, is about relentlessness and obsession. Relentlessness and obsession. I don't really genuinely believe that people have any awareness or idea about genuinely how hard you need to work and how relentlessly you need to pursue things in order to be genuinely successful at the highest possible level. And I don't mean this with any arrogance. And I want to be very clear, there's a lot of things that I get the pleasure of doing in my life that make it easy for me to be focused and relentless, right? But I've also worked to be in a position where I can do that. But I think one of the things that probably would surprise people the most is how polarizing and in some cases even contradictory my life is day to day. Right? My life is filled of unbelievable freedom, and yet that freedom also means that sometimes I'm up until 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning while my girls are asleep working. Right? So it's like I have the freedom to do anything, and yet because I'm committed to what we're trying to build and what we're trying to create, I'm absolutely willing to sacrifice in order to be able to make that happen. And there is a sense that, for people that are trying to make big things happen, I want you to understand that for everybody, there is a gravity in place that is holding you where you are. And you have to be willing to be relentless and obsessive in order to be able to get yourself out of that scenario and circumstance. There is just simply no shortcut to doing an unreasonable amount of work in order to be able to make something happen. And if you imagine that in order to be incredibly successful at anything, in your marriage, in your health and fitness, in your finances, in your career, in your business, if you imagine that in order for you to do that, you needed to do 1 million repetitions of something, 1 million. and you are doing 1,000 repetitions a year, it's going to take you 1,000 years to get there. It's never going to happen. But if you would instead do 1,000 repetitions a year, if you did 1,000 repetitions a month, that gets you to a place where you're doing effectively 12,000 repetitions. It's going to take fucking 100 years. But if you could get to 1,000 repetitions a day, 365,000 repetitions in a year, then you're going to get to 1,000,000 repetitions in 3 years, right? It's still going to take 1,000,000 to get there. It's still going to take, you have to get to a certain threshold in order to get there. So it's really just about how committed am I to doing that and nothing else, and to being able to fully invest all your focus, time, and attention, not to the exclusion of your family, not to the exclusion of your partner, not to the exclusion of your health and fitness, but understanding that all the other shit that I'm taking up in my time, energy, and effort to do, I should really forget about. I should delete, I should delegate, I should outsource, I should figure out, because if I can focus and keep my eye on the prize, on the main thing, that's going to be the domino that's going to make everything else better. And whatever that is for you is what you're going to focus on. But my point being is that if I look back at the year that we've had, it's in no small part to a relentlessness, to an attitude of absolute obsession. And for me, that means, I work a heap, right? And on the same token, it means that I also get to be able to have a ton of time off with the girls. Like this year, we went to 14 different countries. We spent about 12 weeks traveling around the world collectively over the year. And some of that time was in front of a laptop screen, and some of that time was on the beach. And I love the polarity of all of that. But outside of all of that, it is the sense of going, cool, working harder than at times I even want. But it's part of what you have to do, I believe, in order to be successful. I've never met somebody that's achieved a high enough level of success that any of you would look at and go, hey, I really admire your work ethic, that doesn't have an insane work ethic, that is not absolutely prepared to do whatever the fuck it takes. I remember listening to an interview with Jennifer Lopez, and she said it's not about working hard. It's about working harder than anybody else is prepared to work for longer than anyone else is prepared to work hard for. And so you've really got to look at and audit your time and go, hey, how much time did I spend in this last month watching Netflix? How much time on this last month did I spend, respectfully, even reading the books? How much time did I spend scrolling the internet? How much time did I spend gossiping and complaining? How much time did I spend, doing things that are actually really low yield activities, right? Like spending my time doing $20 activities and not $2,000 activities. And if you take a serious look at all of those things, and you add them all up, it's like if I was to invest all of that time, energy, and attention in something that was passionate and was fueling me, that would give me so much back in order to be able to make that happen. And for any of you that's listening to this, by the way, and go, hey, especially I want to honor Lindell in this, which is that Lindell's been amazing at teaching me and inspiring me and understanding about different energy types, right? And as you can probably tell, if you are familiar with Lindell's work, I'm a generator. That doesn't mean to say that if you're not a generator, that you have to that you don't have to work hard in order to be able to make it happen. I think that's absolutely inaccurate. What is important, though, is to understand how do we get the best out of you. And if you only have, for example, a short window of time where you have the energy to be able to sustain a really intense amount of focus, energy, and effort to be able to produce an incredible result, then you've got to be fucking on for that, right? Like I talked the idea of being all in or all out. Right? And so if you're all out, be all out. Actually genuinely recharge, rest, and recover. I think everyone would be doing better instead of trying to multitask if you just fucking committed to whatever you're actually doing and doubled down on that one thing, got the job done, and then moved on to something else. And so I think for all of us is having an awareness of going, hey, if I want next year to be better, I've got to be willing to do more than anyone else is prepared to do. And if you have that mindset and that energy, whatever that represents for you, I think that's a gateway drug to being able to make it happen. I think it's really the minimum key that you've got to put in the door to unlock your potential and your growth. It's like, hey, how bad do you want this? You don't need to do that forever. And in fact, it's one of those things where it's not like you even need to do it forever, or you're even going to be thinking about doing it forever. There's a period of time. Who's ever had this experience before where you're like, hey, I'm working hard versus this is hard work, right? Hard work is like, fuck, this is hard work. But when you're doing stuff that inspires you, that uplifts you, that fuels you, that motivates you, it's not hard work, right? Even you might be only doing hard work for an hour, but it feels like 10 hours. But if you're doing work that is uplifting and inspiring you, you could work for 10 hours and it feels like 1 hour. Hence, you understand the distinction there. So it's not about the number of hours. It's about what you're doing. It's about the alignment for you. It's about what you're pouring into that moment as part of that. And of course, everyone needs to rest and recharge and uplift. But let's be very clear, right? Most people burn out in their minds before they burn out in their bodies, their hearts, and their souls, and their spirits. And I would say to most people that if you're experiencing a bit about burnout, I would actually say to you, it's not actually burnout. I would say it's actually that you're just feeling deflated, that you have unreasonable expectations, that you're not feeling as though you're winning at the level that you genuinely want to win at. Because if you were winning, my experience is that people that win, and I saw an incredible post about this the other day, people that feel as though they're winning, that they feel as though they're making progress, that have hope, that have faith, that believe, it's unbelievable the lengths that those people will go to. But if you take somebody and you tell them that it's impossible and they believe that it's impossible, watch how quickly they feel demotivated, deflated, burnt out, fatigued. It's like, hey, that is a psychological paradigm before it's a physical or emotional paradigm. How many of you guys are picking up what I'm putting down? Awesome. Fantastic. So hopefully that's some incredible energy that you can take into 2026. And I've got no doubt that if you show up with a level of intensity, not an aggression, but an intensity, a passion, a burning desire to want to make amazing things happen, then you'll turn 2026 into an incredible life-changing adventure.